Number 5. Letters from a Priest. In July 2023, a 30-year-old Alabama priest named Alex Crow was defrocked after being accused of absconding to Europe with an 18-year-old girl he groomed. The girl was 17 when their relationship began, and she had encountered Crow at a school where he was employed. Crow fled to Italy with the teenager, who according to her family's lawyer was later found in Rome. But Crow refused to cooperate with her relatives and instead called the police. Christine Hernandez, the family's attorney, said that Crow severely limited the girl's communication with the outside world. Disturbing allegations also emerged concerning Crow's interactions with other students during school and church trips. It's claimed that he paid some students to attend confessions with him, where they would disclose their sins. Revealing letters written by Crow to the 18-year-old girl were made public recently. In one letter, Crow told the child that they were married and expressed intense feelings for her, claiming he had never felt this way about anyone else. In another letter addressed to an unidentified associate, he said that Jesus had instructed him to go to Italy with the girl. According to reports, about 24 parents had reported incidents involving Crow. For instance, during a 2022 trip to Tennessee, Crow spent an unusual amount of time alone with one female student. Crow, a former rock musician, had attended seminary and received degrees in divinity and theology. In lectures, he expressed a deep interest in possession and supernatural phenomena, mentioning his unusual experiences growing up in a strange home. His actions garnered significant attention and raised concerns about the possibility of religious institutions in addressing such matters. A former church member shared a story about experiencing health problems like chest pains and migraines, which could not be explained. Crow, the ex-priest, claimed he underwent a minor exorcism and initially had a bad reaction but felt better afterward. The girl's parents had planned a press conference but cancelled it out of fear for their daughter's safety. Their attorney Hernandez believes the girl is with someone the sheriff's office considers a predator. Despite being found in Italy, the young woman told a family member that she willingly went with Crow. She also insisted that there was no romantic relationship between them and that they were staying in separate bedrooms. The police investigation is still ongoing, and the authorities are trying to capture the priest and hold him accountable. Number 4. Too pretty for jail. In October 2022, a woman stabbed her mother, 61-year-old Afaf Hussanin, to death with a shard of glass. 28-year-old Hind Bustami from Nevada initially gained attention for claiming she got arrested for theft because of her looks. Later, it was said that she called 911 around 2:30 a.m. to confess to the crime, saying that she thought she hurt her mother. When police arrived, they found Hussanin inside their shared home with multiple stab wounds inflicted using broken glass. Later, California Highway Patrol found Bustami on Interstate 15 near Barstow around 5 a.m. and she was covered in blood. During questioning, she admitted to getting into an argument with her mother and stabbing her with a piece of glass. Bustami made headlines in August when she was arrested at Harry Reid Airport in Las Vegas for trying to leave without paying her bill at the Chili's restaurant. She was arrested for misconduct at the time and was described as being intoxicated. She also had a battery charge in June in Las Vegas, where she was booked into the Clark County Jail and later released. The police had been called to the family home at least 12 times in the current year alone, with 7 of those instances being related to family disturbances. A neighbor, Andres Moreno, mentioned that the family's home was known for being quite noisy, especially in the late hours, often involving loud arguments, mostly between the older daughter and the mother. This led to police intervention, followed by a temporary calm, only for the situation to repeat itself after a week. The neighbor also noted that she would often act strangely, like approaching strangers for rides and going into neighbors' open garages, even leaving things scattered outside. Moreno observed her coming outside and sometimes spinning in her driveway, singing songs or talking to herself. At times she would simply stroll up and down the street muttering to herself. He believed that Bustami might have been grappling with mental health issues and needed help, but perhaps did not seek it or receive it. He knew that something was going on with her. Bustami graduated from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas with a degree in hospitality administration and management, and she pursued DJing under the name Aphrodite. As of now, her trial is ongoing and she awaits her sentence. Number 3. A ruined holiday. In September 2018, a British man was accused of assaulting a woman when she declined to engage in sexual activity with him. 35-year-old Emma Higginson from Kent suffered severe injuries, including a fractured skull, eye socket and nose, in the assault that occurred at a hotel in Izmir, Turkey. She was barely recognizable after the attack. Emma reported that the assault was carried out by Declan Marshall, a 28-year-old salesman, whom she had met at a nightclub earlier that night. Emma, in an interview with the newspaper, revealed that she still bears the physical and emotional scars from the attack. She had been attending regular medical and dental appointments, as well as receiving counseling to cope with the aftermath of the assault. She was hurt, and the pain had been constant ever since. Emma said that Declan had been invited to the hotel where she and her friends were staying, after he claimed he could not access his own room. He was initially requested to sleep on the sofa, while she went to rest in her own bed. But shortly after that, he entered her room and made unwanted advances, attempting to engage in sexual activity. Emma told him she was not interested, and he struck her. She recalled him saying she had no respect, but she told him that she had a boyfriend. That's when he hit her twice and she lost consciousness. When she woke up, she was on the balcony, and there was blood all around her. Her friend was awakened by her screams, and he rushed out of the apartment. She got 50 stitches on her face, with multiple fractures and a lot of bruises. During the attack, one of her teeth even fell out, and doctors said that she could not fly back home. She decided to share her story and use her real name so people could understand Declan's actions. After the incident, the police found Declan, who is from Stoke-on-Trent, at a nearby hotel thanks to CCTV footage from the nightclub. His lawyer has previously claimed he was very drunk that night and cannot remember much. He disputed hitting the woman and said he only pushed her very lightly. Declan spent 5 months behind bars, but a year later, he was reportedly in Stoke. His attorney argued that he should be allowed to await further legal proceedings at home, while the prosecution continues to gather evidence, and it was allowed by the court. His sentence is still pending. Number 2. A veteran evicted. On December 22, 2014, a disabled army veteran and his service dog were kicked out of a mobile home in Bandera because of a dispute over an unpaid pet fee. David Palasek served 7 years in the military, including deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. He refused to pay the pet fee, citing the Fair Housing Act, which safeguards people who rely on service dogs from discrimination. Palasek endured a traumatic brain injury and sustained injuries to his neck, spine, knee, and shoulder during a Humvee accident and a separate IED accident in Iraq. He is also a cancer survivor, having conquered testicular cancer in recent years. Medical professionals informed Palasek that his gunner's harness contributed to his illness, which required treatment at the Lackland Air Force Base and later Fort Sam Houston. Official documents from the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs show that Palasek is 90% disabled. To help him cope with his challenges, Palasek was relying on a 4-year-old service dog named Checkers. According to him, Checkers played a vital role in offering him mental, emotional, and physical support. Checkers' certification as a service dog was also confirmed by the Service Dog Registration of America. Palasek's disagreement with his former landlord, Guilot Realty, reached a boiling point after his mobile home was burglarized in November. He changed the locks and denied entry to the company's staff while he was attending a medical appointment in San Antonio. That's when he received an eviction notice, along with an increased pet fee of $2,500. An employee at Guilot's Bandera office directed inquiries to Gay Guilot. When contacted by phone, Guilot initially denied that Palasek had been evicted and abruptly ended the call, claiming an interruption to her lunch break without addressing further questions. The two parties appeared in court in Bandera County. Palasek relocated to San Antonio while the dispute remained unresolved in the legal arena. Section 504 of the Fair Housing Act explicitly states that service animals are not considered pets. It further clarifies that housing providers cannot enforce pet-related policies on residents who depend on service animals. No more information is available on how the trial came to its conclusion. Number 1. Friends Forever. On July 31st, 2021, a man violently attacked his friend, fatally stabbing and strangling her after she rejected his romantic advances. 26-year-old Halifama Welde Johannes assaulted 19-year-old Jordanos Brain at her house in Annette Street, Birmingham. Jordanos was lying in a pool of blood, and paramedics had to wait for 30 minutes for police assistance before entering the property. The court heard that she died due to strangulation, along with multiple grievous stab wounds to her face and neck. The motive for this brutal attack was Jordanos' rejection of Halifam's romantic interest, as she saw him as a brother. The two had known each other for many years, having grown up in the same village in Eritrea. Jordanos had relocated to the UK in pursuit of a better life. On the night of the murder, Halifam convinced Jordanos to let him stay in a separate room in her house. Around 2:31 a.m. the next morning, Jordanos texted a housemate expressing her concern. Between 5:30 a.m. and 6 a.m., her housemate heard her screams and found Halifam strangling her. The housemate alerted the police, and Halifam fled the scene. Before fleeing, he had viciously stabbed Jordanos 15 times with a kitchen knife, strangled her for up to 30 seconds, and tried to set her body on fire. A nationwide manhunt began, and Halifam was found the next day at a house in Stoke-on-Trent, where he was visiting a friend. He had returned to his home in Sheffield to change clothes and was trying to collect money to flee the country. Jordanos had fled Eritrea at the age of 15, seeking asylum in Europe, first in Italy, where he received medical treatment for various illnesses, including scabies. She arrived in Birmingham in 2020, the same year Halifam arrived in the UK from Eritrea. His permission to remain in the country was granted by the Home Office because he had fled his homeland to evade conscription. The motive behind Halifam's attack is unclear. While he described a romantic relationship, Jordanos saw their friendship as platonic. Halifam, living in Sheffield city centre, pleaded guilty to murder and was sentenced to life in prison in Birmingham Crown Court. He will serve a minimum term of 21 years before becoming eligible for parole. Which of these rejections do you think led to the worst outcome? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Bad Badger.